My name is Vernon Jones, and I'm going to be here in Tim's stead. Tim is unable to be here with us this year, unfortunately, and so I'm going to be taking his place. This is Monday. I can't remember. This is April what? 6th. Thank you very much. This is the CALLERLAB Convention. This is all done for the recording purposes, and we are in Kansas City, Missouri, the Show Me State. Yes? Yes, and the theme of our convention is Show Me. Has anybody ever wondered why it's called Show Me or why Missouri is called the Show Me State? I know, and I'm not from Missouri.
I was wondering, why isn't that?
Because they don't just want you to tell them, they want you to show them. Don't just tell me something will work. Show me it'll work. Is that pretty close? Good enough. The title of our session is Putting the You Back in Fun. I'm going to introduce the person, and then I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I didn't know I was going to be doing this until late last night, so I didn't come prepared for a bunch of things. But I do have a few things. Bear does have he does have a presentation that he is going to put forth, and he has some other things up here that you can come up and look at so you can feel the show me side of this presentation. And in just a little bit, I'll be turning it over to the panelist here, who is Bear Miller from Denver, Colorado. Give Bear a nice hand. For a long time, we have always heard people say we need to put the fun back into square dancing. We need to put the fun back into square dancing. What we've come to understand is that fun for a lot of people means different things. It's not just the dance experience that people want to come to, or just the dancing that people come for. For a long time, it used to irritate me at clubs that we would call for it, and at dances in general, that if the dance went to 11 o'clock, there was a contingent of people that left at 10:30. And we knew why most of them were leaving, and that was so they could get to the Pizza Hut before it closed. And they'd get to the Pizza Hut before we got there. And so we got smart, and so instead of going to 11, we stopped the dance at 10:30, and those people then started to leave at 10. And that's what happens. And I contend that if we hold a dance at 8 and end it at 9, there will be a contingent of people that leave at 8:30. And that used to irritate me. And we used to think of whole thousands of different ways that we could stop people from doing that. One of the things that we came up with and actually tried was to not give away the honey pot or the split the pot or the pot of gold until the last tip. And we thought, boy, we're getting them now. Well, they'd come in and buy their tickets and they'd leave anyway. So that worked to a degree, but it really didn't work. I have come to the realization that I shouldn't really worry about that. If they come in and pay their money and then they want to turn around and leave and they're happy, why should I care? They got what they wanted out of the experience, and so if they're happy with it, I should be happy with it. And so I've come to not worry about those kinds of things. It used to irritate the life out of me that I'd have, I'm just using this as an example, 10 squares on tip number 1, and then tip number 2, there'd be 2 or 3 because the rest of them were in the kitchen eating or preparing or whatever. And that used to make me mad because, like Jim Mayo said either last year or the year before, those people weren't enjoying my talents as a caller. Huh? How about that? And that used to irritate me. But now I've come to realize that that's what they're happy with. They enjoy that experience, not necessarily the dancing, but the social aspect of our activity. Thousands of things that we used to do that we, as in general, don't do anymore. I'm sure there are going to be people out in the audience that say, oh, we do those things, and that's great. But us, the entire population as a whole, don't do most of the social aspects that we used to do years ago. And so part of this, what we're going to be doing today after Bear gets finished with his presentation is, if you read in your convention direction, this is an open forum. And we're going to be passing the mic back and forth to you folks so that we can all gather information. When reality sets in, it's the openness of talking amongst all ourselves where the best ideas and inspiration comes from. So once Bear gets finished, I'm going to be passing the mic back and forth, and we're going to be sharing experiences on how we can better put the social aspect of square dancing back into our activity. In order to do that, I'm going to be passing around the wireless mic that I have in my hand. This session is being recorded. Therefore, if you have something to say, please raise your hands. I will get to you eventually. And then we can put any comments, questions, or whatever we have on the mic so the recordings will be there. If everybody's happy with that, I am now going to turn it over. Give a big hand to Mr. Bear Miller.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming out this afternoon, except for I'm still trying to figure out they've got me confused with somebody else. I've got 2 sessions here, and they both about fun. They got me confused with somebody. I think Vernon or somebody. But anyway, I have a couple of clubs in Denver, Colorado. I'm from the Mile High City. And I'm going to give you some of the things that the different clubs do, because there are 3 completely different types of clubs. I have my own home club that I am the club caller for. Now the club caller is a caller run club. And most of those activities that we do with that group, we set up, we ask people to get input in, and if you want to do something, talk to us. We'll have you set it up if we can. But we've done a lot of things. I have a couple of, my wife keeps a great scrapbook of a lot of the things our club does. So I brought that if you want to come look through it to come and get some of the ideas that we've done. But to give you an idea of some of those things, there's a melodrama house that has a dinner theater. We go there once a year, sometimes twice, and it's always a great thing. We have about 50 people. We fill up a lot of the whole area when we do that. We've gone out and played miniature golf. We have, we go to the movies together. We've done bowling things. We go to plays. And sometimes they're big attendance, sometimes they're small. But this is a very great opportunity for us when we do these things. As a caller at a dance, you get to say hi to people. You don't get to do much else a lot of times. You have a core group that goes out afterwards sometimes, but you don't get to meet a lot of people at your dance. So we have these activities to be able to incorporate and get to know the people and have a good time together and bond with these people. And that's one of the reasons we started with this club in 2002. We had 2 squares. We now have 140 members. We average about 9 squares, and it's a weeknight, a Wednesday night club. And it's just phenomenal. It's a great group. And the biggest thing we do is we started about 5 or 6 years ago. We now have a luau once a year in the summertime. And we do a pig in the ground. The club supplies the pig. We have the potluck afterwards. We have people who've volunteered to put this on in their house. They have a great big backyard. And they've actually dug a pit in their yard, and we dig to the pig. Now, we have people who don't come to any dances during our year who join our club so they can come to that luau. Yeah, and that's one of them. But it's an amazing thing because we show up there and we end up with 90, 100 people for this pig thing. And then we all get out and we actually take the pig out of the ground. And we sit there and there's about 9 of us who cut up the pig and have a really great time. And it's phenomenal. People come just to hang out and be there. They dress up Hawaiian. Matt's probably all ready for that all the time too. But it's just phenomenal. Now I have another group in Denver. I'm the club caller, one of the 2 club callers for the gay and lesbian group in town, the Rocky Mountain Rainbows. We also do outside activities. They're a different set of type of activities. We have games nights. Somebody has a house thing at their house. We go over there and play games. They do have an annual New Year's Day party. Somebody puts on and we all go over. It's a potluck. We hang out. We do for a walk through the neighborhood. We, do some dancing. We once again get some games out and play that kind of things. People who host it have a wood dance floor that holds about 4 squares. And the annual attendance to that thing is around 80 people during the day, but they start it like at 9 in the morning. It goes till 6, 7 at night, and you can come anytime. The other things they've done is they go out to plays, and they've also had like a casino night where they actually bring in the equipment as money raiser for the club and have a casino night. My third group I do is called the Rolling Wheels, and they're a mainstream club in Denver that I just took over from a club from another caller about 3 years ago. And it's an older group, and the activities there we do are once again aimed at the group of people we have. And once again, there's somebody within that club. This club happens to be not a caller run club. It is the club run. And so somebody's assigned the put on activities, put things together. We've done murder mysteries for dinners at places and at people's houses. And had potlucks. Any meeting they have, we're square dancers. It's a potluck. A couple people have big yards, and we have them outside when we can. But everything revolves around food. Imagine that. I don't partake in any of the food at any moment. But all 3 groups pull one thing together. They all aim at what the interest of of that group is. So you have to kind of find out what your people like to do. But, we try to get together. Now, when I learned to call, I learned from a gentleman by the name of Torgi Thorbjornsson. It's not an easy thing to say. But he passed away this last year. But his concept was a little bit different. Every lesson, every dance they ever had, they go out to a restaurant bar after every dance or lesson. Anybody who was invited that was there was invited to go with them. Sometimes you'd have 4, sometimes you'd have 30 people. And that was his time to bond with people. And he was like the Mad Hatter. He set a different seat all through the night to make sure he got to sit and talk to everybody in the group, which is very important because sometimes it's really easy to get isolated with the people that you really know well, and they're there to see you. And it's that time that you can get that bonding time in, and I think that's the most important thing we do when we have fun. On a larger scale, I tend to do pranks on other callers or friends. Some of you have heard of some of these. Some of you have seen these in action. A couple years ago here at CALLERLAB, when it was in Colorado, I have a very young friend. He's now 20, and he's turning into a substantially great caller. He likes to room with me. He still likes to room with me. I don't understand why. Because one morning he woke up, I had a few friends come over, show up, crack of dawn in the morning. Vernon was there. Fun-loving guy. Dennis was there, a fun-loving guy. Jeff Palmer was, and I'm naming everybody who's guilty now, huh? Anyway, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I got out the night before, and Dennis had a bed, I had a bed. We had a rollaway in the room. Don't room with bear with a rollaway. Because I went out and got some sheets and duct tape. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, we were going to duct tape him to bed because Justin's 18 years old. He sleeps really good. Except for when you start pulling duct tape out, it makes a lot of noise. So instead, I jumped on top of him, 7 o'clock in the morning. Justin, by the way, weighs about 97 pounds. And we all kind of told him, Justin, don't fight it, just go with it. So we proceeded to duct tape him to the bed. Many rolls of duct tape. And then it was a cool bed because it stood up. And it had wheels on the bottom. So we then rolled him down the hallway, into the elevator, up to where the breakfast was being served at CALLERLAB, and put him just inside the room. So as everybody came in, Justin was getting breakfast in bed. So we've done a lot of pranks on other callers. They're all harmless. We never make sure nobody ever gets hurt. It's very important if you're going to do that kind of fun kind of thing that you take into account who you're dealing with, what the repercussions are going to be, and that nobody gets hurt. But paybacks are very interesting. I'm afraid when Justin gets very famous, I'm going to pay the price. But when we do pranks on other callers, especially if I have 2, 3, 4 caller dance and we start picking on somebody, the dancers just enjoy that because they know that you're getting along really well. They happen to partake in it. They feel responsible for part of that because then all of a sudden, boy, when we got Jeff that night, it isn't just I got Jeff. We got Jeff. We did a thing at State Festival. Everybody came in with the local area. It was called Palmer Plumbing. And they were out there advertising, putting plungers on everybody's porch that said Palmer Plumbing. Well, Jeff Palmer is not from that area, but it said Palmer Plumbing. So we had about 60 dancers come in with plungers, walking in from the back of the hall, and we bought him a toilet to call from, his own throne, at a state festival. So it's one of those yes, my idea of fun sometimes gets carried away. But it's one of those things that they took ownership in it, and all of a sudden they bought in the fact that we are having a good time together. And that's the most important thing you can do to people. My booklet here, it starts the first page. My wife made a great thing here. It says, whatisplus.com. And the first few pages are just pictures of people in the club with smiles on their faces. Because that's what it's all about. It's about the people. Most important thing we can have is the people having a smile and having a good time together. But it's our responsibility to make sure that we're not just trying to do with great choreography, what you say to them at the dance, but you got to get outside the dance hall, especially on the club level, and have a good time with them and let them take ownership in you, and you have that great bonding time at that point. So anyway, that's most of my whole presentation. That's really kind of a scary thing, isn't it? Oh, and by the way, my grandson is now 15 months old. And if I have pictures of that too up here if you want to share, because I will show you. And he is the greatest thing in my life, and they take ownership in that too. A little shtick of like that is amazing if it really means something to you. And people take ownership in other people that way and have a bonding effect. So, Vernon.
Yeah, I just is this on? I'm now marketing my own line of hearing enhancements. So if anybody's interested, they can see me, because if you need hearing enhancements, you can just see me and I can help you, because a lot of times you need that on the square dance floor. Can't hear very good. So, what? Some of the things that you can do. Any questions for Bear? Any comments? Any personal observations? One of the clubs that I call for on a once a year basis is called the Hey Lolly Square Dance Club, and they're in Houston, Texas. One of the best run clubs that I think exist, and I know there are other ones out there, but if you go to there, and they dance every Thursday, unless it's Thanksgiving, but they dance every Thursday, not every other, not the first, every Thursday. And if they had no visitors show up at any of their dances, they'd still dance 10 squares a night. They are very, very, very they're dedicated. They go out and recruit new people. Very, very relentless and very aggressive in that form. My contract says that I will be there at promptly 7:15 in order to start the dance at 7:30. It says if I want to take a bathroom break, I may do that after the third tip. Other than that, you stay up on stage, because once the dance starts, they don't stop. They thank everybody in their squares, and they go immediately to another square and start squaring up and start dancing again. So the time in between dance tips may be as little as 20 to 30 seconds in some cases, very, very short breaks. They don't do round dancing between their square dance tips, although practically 90% of the club round dances, they round dance at the Round Dance Club on Thursday nights. And they dance for 2 solid hours. I mean, yeah. Do what?
You said round dance on Thursday, but you said the club.
They round. Excuse me, my mistake. They round dance on Tuesday nights. My mistake. Square dance on Thursday, round dance on Tuesdays, and I forgot where I was going. That's all right. I was telling something. Oh, and they dance for 2 solid hours. They have coffee for those who want it, but they don't have anything else. If you want a glass of water, there's a water fountain down and around the corner. And then there's lots of people who bring their own cups, and they fill up their water and this kind of thing. So therefore, they don't have a lot of things to clean up after the dance. And so the first time I called for them, I thought, well, gee, these people are real serious about their dancing. They want to dance, and that's all they want to do. And then afterwards, everybody kind of just scattered, and nobody said anything to me. So I just left, and that was the end of that. But the next year, I got an apology from some leaders of the club that I didn't get invited to go with them after the dance. And so I thought, well, okay, that's okay. That'd be nice, and would you go this year? And so I said, sure, I would go. And what I found out is they danced really hard and fast and had a good time. Everybody, that dancing was their main important thing from 7:30 to 9:30. But then everybody left, and we went to a place called, I can't remember the name. It was Fajita Flats, Fajita Willie's or something down in Houston or whatever. And that's where everybody was. The entire restaurant knew they were coming and lined in square dance fashion, put all the tables all together, and there was nothing but Hey Lolly Square Dance Club members in the restaurant. And so that's when they did their socializing. But that was a very important part of their dance night experience. That's what on Thursday nights, everybody says during the week it's hard for us to get there because we have to get home, we have to change clothes, we have to make dinner, blah, blah, blah. Well, they know that on that night at 9:30, within about 10 minutes after the dance is over with, they're going to be eating their dinner for the night. So they don't worry about those kinds of things. And that's where they get their socializing in. And we stayed for an hour and a half, 2 hours that night. And so that, there's one example of a club that is very, very successful with their social aspect of dancing, but it's at the end of the dance. There are a mountain full of things that clubs are doing these days that are enhancing their social aspects. We're hearing more and more in our area of clubs taking bus trips. How many clubs out there do that anymore? Several. And that's a great thing, and that's something more that we should do. What we're finding is that there are clubs, since our clubs are getting smaller, they can't afford to rent the whole bus like they used to. So what a lot of clubs in the area are doing are combining forces and joining together. And so instead of one bus trip filling up the entire bus, it's 2 or 3 clubs getting together and filling up buses and taking bus trips. And that's a wonderful thing. They're doing one of 2 kinds. Of course, they're going for the one bus out, dance, blah, 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 come back that evening. And they are doing the bus out on Saturday, dance, spend the night at some motel, go out to eat at a local eatery, and then bus back. Those are wonderful things. I'm just trying to throw out some examples of some other things that we can do. One of the things that my club does in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is we have a dance that we call an old-timey square dance call dance, where we go back in time into the 30s and 40s, for instance, and pull out some of the square dance calls that were done back in that time period, and we teach them how to do those old-time square dance calls, which is the way they used to do them back in the 30s and 40s anyway. When you were doing dip and dive before the tip got started, the caller would walk you through dip and dive, and therefore you would know how to do that. If you were one of the dancers that danced all the time, well, then you would have no problem being couple number 1 because they knew what to do. If you hadn't been dancing in a while, then perhaps you may wanted to be couple 3 or 4 because by the time it got to you, you had already seen it 3 or 4 times or 2 or 3 times. But that's one of the things that the club does to enhance not just square dancing, modern Western square dancing, but in doing other things to make things more interesting. Yes, Barry.
I didn't mean to do that, so I didn't interrupt you. But I was getting ready to talk about on the larger scale, because we talk about the local club level, but we've also done a lot of activities on the larger scale at festivals and stuff. This year at our Colorado State Festival, we're going to have a trail-in dance just before it. It's going to be a tailgate party. We were inviting people to come in their most favorite team sport. We're going to put the barbecues out. We're going to have a tailgate party before the dance. It's in June, but won't make any sense. But everybody get involved in that because it's an outside thing, and we'll be able to socialize with them before the dance. At State Festival a couple of years ago, we helped them do a fundraising by having a dunk tank where you threw the ball and hit the thing, and then whoever was went into the water. And we've got a really handsome caller in our area that all the girls just love. And we thought they'd pay really good money to see him in his Speedo. And we were right. They lined up way far. And then somebody wasn't very bright, and I volunteered. And the line was twice that long. They didn't want to see me in my swimming trunks. They wanted to get a chance to get even with me for the years of doing everything. And then I have friends who not only love me, but they made sure that anybody who got a ball, the first 2 didn't hit, they were allowed to come up and hit the thing with it. 2 hours later, I was a drowned rat. But it was just a ball, and they did a lot of things. The other thing we do in our area, because we're up and down the Front Range, and a lot of areas do it too, is we have quite an extensive group of RV people who in the summertime we schedule clubs and dances that they're going to be at this campground as a group to have a dance there. And always the important thing before that are the before and the after, because they always get together and have a potluck meal around somebody's thing, and then somebody else is rig then sponsors the after party where everybody goes and hangs out afterwards. And those kind of before and after things are what the whole situation is about. Because like I say, the dancing is incredible. We work hard at our craft to be very good choreographic technicians or entertainers up there or great showmen, whatever our shtick is. But that bonding with those people in some kind of outside way is what brings us together and keeps us together. Because otherwise we see them go different ways. The best dancing group in the world, and they're going to go all their different ways eventually if you can't get them to bond as a group.
I don't know what's causing that. And that's one of those old hammer microphones. You can use them for a hammer and they'll still work. There's probably some of us out there that still have those things. Any questions or comments, please. Remember, this is an open forum, so I'm most interested in other ideas. Otherwise, it's going to be a very short afternoon, which is not a bad thing because dinner's next. Please state your name, Mike.
I'm Mike Callahan from the Rochester, New York area. One of the things that, and this is our advanced club that does, is around Valentine's Day, we've done this a couple of times, we have everybody bring in their wedding pictures. Set them up on a table. People guess the wedding pictures, what the couples are. They get a prize, like a free dance or something, whoever gets it. And that works out. That goes over very, very well, especially for Valentine's type of thing. Yeah, guessing who the wedding pictures are the dancers. And it's all right. Some, look just like they do now. Some you could never guess.
Brilliant idea. Yes,
What's this one? Yeah, my name is Matt Rainick. I'm from Granby, Colorado. And a big percentage of our club members were generated from another civic group in the area. So probably half of our club knows that half really well. And then the other half have kind of been brought in through different means. And so part of our club is really tight and does a lot of social things on their own. And they don't really, not by any devious means, but they don't really include a lot of the others. So we've been brainstorming for the last year to try to come up with things to bring the whole club together. And one of the things we're going to try to do this fall is have a club bingo night. But the prizes are going to be white elephants. And everybody's going to find something in their house or garage or closet, wrap it up, put it up on the stage. And then each successive game, you'll go up and grab whatever junk somebody's trying to get rid of. And some way to try to get the club back together in a non-dancing form. And we're not going to do any square dancing at all that night. It's just going to be a bingo thing. And we've had some really positive response towards it. So we're really looking forward to it and maybe make some new friends out of people that we already are dancing with.
I saw a hand back here. Did I not see a hand back here? Could I please see a hand back there?
We need hands. Yeah, put hands up. Otherwise, we keep talking. So you're not getting out of here early, so you have two choices.
My name is Rory Stand. I'm part of the new CALLERLAB staff that's going to be in Topeka. I'm a transplant to Nebraska for the last 2 years. However, Topeka is my home. And as you know, Dana's going to be your next executive director. And years ago, I've known Dana for about 35 years. And years ago, he worked for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Topeka is one of the big hubs, used to be, of the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, which is now Burlington Northern. And so once a year, and it still continues every year, he does a dance all about trains. All the music has something to do with trains. And everybody dresses in locomotive fashion, whatever. They wear a cap or they come in their overalls or, even a bandana out of the jean pocket or something. And it's really fun. Another thing that this particular club does is once a year they have a gospel dance. And all the music is gospel music, and people really, really enjoy that. So that's a couple ideas you might think.
On a side note, if you want any pranks to pull on Dana, let me know.
One, two. There we go.
Hello. My name is Larry McLean. I'm from Perry, Oklahoma. My comment on this is basically, and I've thought about this quite a bit. What is fun? I've got some friends that think that jumping out of a perfectly good airplane is fun. I don't. I have friends who think that playing chess all day long is a blast. I don't. And it also applies to square dancing in that some people really enjoy square dancing prim and proper. And then some people, like me, like to kick up their heels. Now, the problem with this is that when you get those two people in the same square, something's got to give.
Couple things on that. First to answer the one question, it's really important we're talking about the social aspect outside the dance, is that you find the interest within the club that the people you're dealing with. You're going to have some activities that some people want to go to. You're going to have other activities that other people won't go to. And the bigger variety you have, and that's why you say, if you have something you want to do, come to us and we'll do it. And so if Matt has a thing he wants to jump out of the airplane, we're going to have 4 people who would do that. Other of us want to eat, we'll have 90 people who want to do that, okay? But you'll find by putting that out to the people, and they come with you as a suggestion, is really try to follow up and have them actually, if they can take some ownership and help us set it up and do it, because my social calendar is pretty full, and trying to set things up isn't always good. So if they have the idea, put it back in their lap and help them have you do it. And that's where you can find out what they want to do, because somebody who wants to do something really bad, they'll set up that airplane right, okay? And then on the dancing aspect of it is Jerry Haig a few years ago when I did a collar seminar that I went to of his, he gave a very important piece of advice to me. He says, sometime during the night you have to give everybody at your dance a present. You have to give them a gift. Some people like a very smooth, traditional type of dance. Some people want a singing call that they don't have to think about. You know, I do a lot of different choreography. That's my shtick. But I will do a tip during the night and keep the figure the same during the singing call all 4 times. I have to give something very uplifting and moving. I'll give you something that has some tricky choreography because I have people there who want that. So I need to give a gift to each one of my dancers at each that night in some way. So my program varies by what kind of gift I'm going to give them. During one tip, during the 2 halves, I may do 2 different things. I may give you this and them that for the singing call. But it's and that's one of the things, but I just keep that in my mind is I need to give a gift to each one of my dancers at each one of my as they come. And everybody, like you say, has a different idea of what that fun is. So I have to have a varied enough program to give each one of them a gift.
Yes.
Tom Chris, Tucson. One thing you don't want to forget that we've done in the past is very successful is the old mystery caravan. You know, where you take off and you have a place where you can dance that nobody knows about, and then everybody tries to guess what it is and where they're going, and then you kind of lead them around in the caravan and the cars and stuff, and when you get there, you have your dance. So,
I think that's an excellent point, Tom. I remember when I was younger and a teenager, and we used to do a bunch of that, and it was lots of fun. I will say, and I know this from experience. Don't ask me how, but when you're going to do that, make sure that the person organizing the mystery trip doesn't make it a mystery to the club that you're going to. Because when you do show up with a bus full of people and they didn't know you were coming, they start running out and buying vanilla wafers all of a sudden for refreshments, and those babies ain't good without milk and stuff. But but that's an excellent point, Tom. And one of the things that we've gotten away from that we don't do enough of.
Fred Moore, Columbus, Ohio. Hello.
1, 2. No problem.
We've been on these mystery trips and taking car caravans. It's nice if you don't give them all the maps at once. You have different stops. At each stop, you get a different map that leads to the next one. It's a car caravan, which, you don't always get a bus. But like you said, you want to make sure the guest club knows you're coming and you are invited.
Okay. Yes.
There's people who haven't volunteered yet.
I've got
them written down.
I like the way it's going.
One other thing I might add that one of the clubs does in Topeka every year is an annual Oktoberfest. And the club members themselves put that on, and we have anywhere from, sauerkraut and whatever is German, and they all come up with different ideas about what they can bring. And we invite not only all the square dance arena, but we open it up to the public as a way, and then we invite them to stay and watch us dance if they like. And we've had some really good success with that, too.
It's amazing when you stand up, it works better.
We'll find out. Paul Hensey, Chattanooga, we do one that's called the Mad Hatter's Dance. And you ask all the people coming in to come in with a wild hat. And some of them come in with decorated hats. Some of them come in and they make special hats. And then you get a prize. And we take the dancers and we grab maybe one out of every third square. And they are the judges. So this way you involve all the crowd, and they are the ones that go around then and says, okay, you bring these 5, 6, 7, 8 up. And they parade around, And then after everybody sees the parade, then you have them line up, and the audience then claps hands for them. So everybody's all participating and votes for them that way. We also do one called the Old Timers Dance, and the Old Timers Dance is you come dressed like you did with the Railroad Dance, except you wear shoes or no shoes. Of course, we're from Tennessee, so no shoes are quite often. We wear bib overalls, and we have most of the guys are invited to wear bibs without one side of the bib being attached. And some guys forget that, so we it's not risque, but we have fun doing that also. And here again, you award prizes for this. And some of the guys, believe it or not, come in with dirty hands and faces and fixed ups and whatever. But it's a matter, like Bear said earlier, just having fun, and you give them a new variety of something to come to.
One of the most important tools we have before she starts is our own smile. And it is contagious. And if you're smiling you go to one of the events, you go to a square dance, whatever, when I leave, if I've done my job, my cheek muscles hurt. I don't have to work at it for some funny reason. I smile pretty easy, but that smile is an important thing to people. To make sure when you go up and greet the people that you have that big smile on and you mean it from the heart.
Chris Day from Manchester, England. We do a lot of theme nights, and they all get involved, and they really enjoy it, and prizes and whatever. We also have things like beetle drives. I don't know whether you still have those. Where you do the beetle drive is where you shake a dice for a head, for arms, for legs, and that seems to work very well. We do walks on different times of the year for snowbells, bluebells, orchids, whatever, and someone's a historian, so we have a good thing like that. We've been to theatre, boat trips, and everything they can get us involved in, because we don't live locally to them. Also, at the club night, to the rapport between the dancers and the caller. You just strike points. If Trevor makes a mistake, they put a mark on the wall. But when Trevor doesn't make a mistake, they don't cross it off. So the dancers know how many mistakes he has made, even though they can't see them. And it is fun.
Did anybody mention Amateur Callers Cures Night yet? Okay. One of our singles
Mike, why don't
club,
you do that, because you didn't announce who you were this time?
Oh, Mike Callahan. Our singles club does that maybe every 2 or 3 years. And this is a little bit more work for the caller because, if somebody was really interested, they'd have to borrow one of your records and practice or singing calls and that type of thing. But it goes over quite well if you don't do it too often. Okay? And there's a lot of callers in our area that have come from these Amateur Callers and Cures nights. There you go. So that might be something you might want to think about.
Excellent idea.
Matt Rainick again from Granby. We're all talking about a lot of good ideas, and a lot of them involve the actual dance environment. Something we should try to consider, though, in our own communities, we want to be good neighbors and good stewards of the community, and there's a lot of events that occur in a given town or a city. It might be a fundraiser, it might be a breast cancer walk, it might be something along those lines, and you can get with your clubs and try to get a group together and come out in support of whatever the cause may be and do it as a club. It's a nice bonding thing, and it gives a little back to the community, and it kind of gives a plug to your own club, and if you bring a big group of people out. So,
well, that is an excellent idea. I know of several clubs in our area, and I'm sure there are others that do something along the lines of it's a social thing. They're working together, but it's also a guerrilla marketing aspect, and that is you drive up and down the roads and you see this for the next mile, this road's being cleaned by blah, blah, blah company. Well, there are areas in our clubs in our area that are doing that on the interstates. For the next mile, this road is being cleaned by, Dixie Chainer Square Dance Club in Farmers Branch, Texas. And not only do they is it on the sign, they make it a point that every Saturday they go out and pick up the trash and keep that area clean, and it's twofold. People see them doing that, and so it's a guerrilla marketing tactic. Also, it is a social thing, because once you go out and you clean the road, gee, I'm hungry and thirsty all of a sudden, so wow, well, we got to go eat somewhere. One of the few things that I really participate with them in is the going and after and eating part. So that's what I go to. I mean,
you're not a professional, though.
Yeah, when it's club meetings and that's it, I'm not very interested. But if it involves going out to eat, I'm there. Yes.
I'm Dennis O'Neill, formerly from Colorado, but now from Delaware. One of the things our local club back in Colorado, to you it might not seem like a social event, but if you know our club, it's kind of become a social event for the last 4 years, and they put this big production on to have a chili dinner. And that chili dinner has just exploded our club. I mean, in more ways, yeah. We have picked up so many dancers in the last 4 years from this free chili dinner. There's a lot of work getting to it, but Bear's usually done the party night, and I guess he can tell you just how much socializing there is with 100, 30 to 40 club members and 60 to 70, 80 members of the general population who are there sitting around for an hour, eating and chatting and mingling with everybody. You got to make sure your club members are just socializing, and that sort of sets the motion for the recruitment that starts during the middle of that party dance, which has turned into roughly 40% of the people that show up for that becoming members 2 days later, or starting lessons 2 days later. And that's, like I said, it's not a murder mystery kind of thing, but they have done it for the last 4 years, and it's turned out to be a major event for this club. Well, the first we did it in 2006.
How big was the club before this happened?
We couldn't get 2 squares on the floor. We had like 60 people in the club, but we were generally putting like 14 people on the floor. So in 2006, we had our first chili dinner. We had 88 people show up for the chili dinner, 88 visitors. That translated into 37 club members. We had 39 start the class, 37 finished it. A year later, we repeated it just to prove to Denver that it wasn't a mistake. And we had 99 visitors for our chili dinner, and we had 61 people start lessons. One-on-one.
And then you mailed your thing and
we went out and personally said, we are having a free chili dinner. What we promoted was just one night of fun. No lessons, no commitment. Just come out and have a good time. Come enjoy the food. If you like the music, great. If you don't like the music, you're going to have fun. And we had a lot of people who came out to just laugh at square dancing, who went, wow, I didn't know you used this kind of music. This is a lot of fun, who are now members and officers of the club. You got to get them in and show them how much fun it is. But like I said, this has turned out to be a major event for us. Every year and a half is to have a chili supper, free. Just invite them out for one night of entertainment. You can't lose. It's free food. Doesn't cost you anything. It's cheaper than the movies. And they come out and they do it. And it's on a Tuesday night. And what else is there to do on a Tuesday night? So they'll come out. You get to socialize. You immediately get to know the people at the dinner by sitting around at the tables and eating with them. And then you get to dance with them. You've got to have a high energy caller, which Bear does a great job at that. And, we have proven every time about 40% of the people who show up start lessons.
Excellent. And that's a marketing tool, but the marketing tool is built around a very important social gathering, and so that's why I think that warranted being explained. You had something? Anything else right now? Yes, Tom.
Yeah, there's one other idea that I've used in the past, and there's a old time fiddlers group here in Tucson, and we've had these guys come out, and we'll just have it half the night we'll do a little dancing, contra and stuff like that, some easy stuff. And then we pull all our chairs and sit around and listen to these guys jam. And it's a lot of fun.
Gene Triplett from Matthews, North Carolina. We've sat here and we've talked about what we do to get away from the group, away from our dance itself. But we need to think about having some fun for the ones that show up to your dance. And we have a lot of golfers that come and join us. And so we started a hole-in-one jackpot at our dance, and we do it between the last tip between the pattern and singing call. We started a little jackpot. We roll out a 12-foot piece of green carpet, the outdoor type. We put a putter cup up there. When everybody comes in, we give them a ticket, and we draw their name or the number out, and whoever has that number gets a chance to go at the pot. If they make a hole-in-one, they get the pot. If they don't, we just add $3 or $4 to it for the next one. And the one we got going now, I think, will be up to $17 on this next one. And we get some golfers up there who really take the game serious. Well, they don't know we got a magnet in the ball and some pins down there. And they really take a lot of kidding after it's over with when they miss it by, 8 or 10 inches. And we only have 2 rules. Whether it be a male or a female, if your number is drawn, you have to be the one to play. You can't pass it over to your husband or your wife if they're a golfer. And the ball has to stay in the cup. If it bounces out, it doesn't count. And it's just a regular putting cup. You've all seen them. And it's got a little incline up on it. And we get some guys up there that are really take the game serious. And you see that ball curve off and miss it by about 8 inches. And they just look at you. But they've started they enjoy it there at that last minute just before they leave the dance. So we have a lot of fun with it.
It's Mike Callahan again. Talking about making some money, most of you probably do 50-50s at your club. Do you ever do the arm length for $5? Okay. That really increases the 50-50 quite a bit, especially if you have a fairly decent crowd one night. Right?
Arm length for $50.
Arm length.
All around bear for
I know
10.
what I was going to say. I do around Vern's waist, and that's a bear. That's a better, or Bear's waist, and you get more tickets that way, and everybody wants to go for that. I'm going to throw something out here, and it has to do with dancing, and it's controversial in a lot of areas. But we've been doing this for the last 7 years down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at what we call our Nortex Roundup, and that's their annual festival that they have every year. That's the subject of competition dancing, and that raises a lot of rankles among a lot of people. But it's something that people are hungry for. There was a very, very excellent panel earlier this morning that I sat in on that included Stephen Cole, Brett Kapp, and many crickets, and Scully, pardon my ignorance. And they were explaining what's done up in the Pacific Northwest, and which is a great aspect. They have a lot of young people who participate up in that. When we first proposed competition dancing in our area, there was a lot of people who wanted to throw up roadblocks of how they, for square dancing for years has been a non-competitive thing, and we want to keep it that way and this kind of thing. And that's great if that's what they want to do, because if you don't want to participate in the competition, you simply just don't have to. Okay, because if you don't think that's what the thing you need to do, then that's fine. It's kind of like going bowling. Can you just go bowl? But if you want to do a little bit more, don't they have bowling leagues that you can join, and the levels go up and this kind of thing, and that's what a lot of people are looking for. The way we do our competition down there is not like the way they do it up there, and that's just the way we did it. Is that we had 3 different types of competitions, but it was basically the same thing 3 different times. We had, and the clubs got their squares together, and then I called and I've done them all, not because I'm any good or anything, just because I did them. But, because I had the microphone. It was my idea. And what kills me is that I was the only caller who said they would, because we received a lot of bad vibes from the callers saying it will, it'll never work. It's like everything else. Try something new. They'll always tell you why it won't work. They won't say, show me that it'll work. So we got to show them that.
Oh, there's a show me thing. Good job. Nice.
That's why I get paid that $100,000 a year. And
really?
Yeah, I'm losing my train now. Don't get me off. So I would call Four Ladies Chain and then Scatter Promenade, and then that mixed them all up. And then I'd call my set routines, beginning kind of like the mystery deal was earlier today. You start off and then you gradually get progressively harder until you eliminate. We had 3 different places: first, second, and third. The second time I might not do Two Ladies Chain, but we call a Scatter Promenade, and then we do the same thing over again. And I explained to them that really this is just practice for the last one, which is what the big one is. And so that calmed a lot of nerves. And got everybody realizing that, if we make a mistake, there's not a trap door that's going to open up, and we're not going to fall through, and alligators aren't down there waiting to eat us up, and all this kind of stuff. And then, of course, we had the third, which was the quote unquote main competition. That's where the ribbons were passed out, first, second, third, blah blah blah. And here, to everybody's surprise, I'll get that here in a minute. We had judges, and they were callers. Not that the callers know what they were doing. That's just who happened to be there. And y'all can't take what I say serious too many times. It's being recorded. Yeah, I know it. But what we found is nobody really had to force somebody to get off the floor. If they made a large enough mistake that they really screwed the square up, they took themselves out. But what the great thing was is that after they took themselves out, they went to the back of the hall, squared up, and just continued dancing. They wanted to continue going, and that was a great thing, and that showed to us that they really wanted to do that. The square that ended up winning came from a round dance club.
Ouch!
How about that? How about that? And before, and like I said, this wasn't one club that put this event on. It was the local association, and the people who were in charge, or the vice chairmen of the competition, really went all out, and they had those cards made up. You seen like dance competitions where they're wearing the cards on their backs, and we would wear those for like 3 or 4 months ahead of time in promotion and that kind of thing, and that got people to talking about it and thinking about it. But that the competition aspect is, a lot of people are looking for that. Young people especially are looking for that kind of thing. And we're not advocating that we turn every square dance into a competition. It's just certain, just given times, given things. And so now that thing, like I said, has become a regular mainstay of the festival that goes on. And this last year, and it may not be as big as it once was, but there were 28 squares that were signed up for that competition. That makes a really decent dance now. And it lasted an hour. 15-minute intervals is how far we went. Yes. Please ask the question.
Wayne Jansen, California. What you said there were first, second, and third prizes. What would that consist of? What kind and what were they given? Ribbons or what?
Oh, okay. The prizes that they were given were ribbons, and then there's a plaque that is kind of like whenever the festival is held, like the plaques that you see out here that advertise who won the milestones and that kind of thing. That's their individual names, not the clubs. Individual names that 4 different couples from the Dixie Chainer Square Dance Club. And so, so there's something permanent that is in front of somebody. Yeah.
I think that sort of goes back to the same thing of giving everybody a gift, because for some people that's the last thing in the world they would ever want to do. Other people, they would just eat that up.
Matt Rainick again. In this competition, did you get any of the naysayers in the beginning who weren't for it, either callers or dancers? Are they participating now?
Did they come back?
And the answer is yes. Yes, a bunch of people. You'll always get it'll never work. but there are several. There are many who said that it will never work that are participating. There are those, and that's what kills me. One of the biggest problems we have. Not that you're in the way, Mike. It just kills me that there are those that said it will never work, and then after you showed them that it would work, they're doing whatever they can to get rid of it.
Let's plug nationals.
Thank you. Ray Hutchison, General Chairman of the 58th National, that's going to hold a competition in Long Beach. Commercial time. This is something that came up at the National Executive Committee meeting in Louisville at the pre-convention. They opened the door and we jumped in. We're going to hold a competition. It's in 2 levels. We have the youth, which has been used in California for a number of years. That was patterned after the Northwest. And we're going to have an open competition, which will be primarily the older folks. We did it to actually try to get some stimulus to the square dance activity. Our registration numbers are not what we feel they should be. That could be due to other factors, economic, et cetera, that the country is facing. However, we did send out a blast email twice now about the competition. It is formatted. You have to be pre-registered to participate in the competition. I don't mean pre-registered for the convention. I mean pre-registered. Form your own square. As it's been mentioned, you can do it or you cannot do it. We have enough other things that are going to happen. It's only going to be an hour for the kids and an hour for the open competition on Thursday and Friday nights. If people want to watch, they can. If they want to go dance elsewhere, they can. It's a test in a sense. It's an exhibition format, and it'll be last square standing. We don't have the time or the personnel to do it on a time and scoring basis, so it'll be last square standing, and it will be fun.
How many of you are signed up for the 58 now?
Also, the awards will be, again, ribbons and medals. I'm trying to think of the word medals, and so people can then wear them around and again show that they were in and participated. Not only participated, but were one of the 4 winners.
What dance program is it?
Mainstream only. Right.
Excellent, and for those who didn't hear Ray or didn't understand, the program that is going to be danced is mainstream, and I just came off a 2-week tour run through about 5 states, and I'm not going to say where, but your information blitz is working. There are small towns that have square dance populations that are talking about it. So it's out there. People are aware of it, and it's the same thing. I've got this group over here who thinks it's a great idea, and you got this group over here who don't think it's so good. But what the great thing is that as this over here is successful, these people over here, for the most part, are coming around and agreeing that it's a good idea. And I, for one, think it's a great idea, and glad to see that it's going to be out there. And I am waiting for the day when you, or not you particularly, or when the convention enacts a square dance caller competition.
Let's do one more comment and then wrap it up, Vernon.
Harry Nelson from Oklahoma. In line of what Ray was saying, Gene Triplett from the National Executive Committee has 1 and possibly 2 squares that are going to enter. So the green suits are going to be out there. Gene Morton, who is the bid chairman from Oklahoma, has informed me he has a square from Southwest District that's entering the competition. So, Ray, it is building a little bit, even if you are getting some negative comments. It's showing some good comments, too. We've got to try something new. It always worked before. Ain't going to get it. We've got to look into the new field.
Here, I'll talk. You turn that thing.
It's one of those. It's one of those things that this is the way we've always done it. How are we happy with the results we got right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together for Mr. Vernon Jones for stepping in Mr. Crawford's absence. On very short notice, after the Board of Governors meeting last night, I dragged him over and I says, "What are you doing at 2:45 tomorrow afternoon?" And he's done an excellent job, and I really appreciate you stepping in and filling in. So thank you, my friend. I hope you have a great rest of the convention. Have some fun while you're here. Get out and smile and enjoy yourselves. And if you have any questions or want to come tell me how cute my grandchild is, feel free to come up. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you later.